Today I want to talk to you about the lessons that I learned about myself from having a boy with special needs. Something that seemed like it was my greatest trial ended up being my greatest blessing, and there were a lot of lessons that I learned through that. So I'm going to kind of give you a little snapshot, a little story about where I came from and where I am and where I know I'm going. So growing up, I had a really good life. My parents were really good about emphasizing good relationships in the family, and also learning how to work, and the importance of education and opportunity and learning. And so I just had this really great childhood. And by the time I was a junior and senior in high school, I was feeling pretty confident about who I was. And then after high school, I was in college, and I met this boy, and I married him. And that actually ended up being hard for me. I thought it was going to be this beautiful happily ever after, but we got married, and for whatever reason, my brain dived into everything that wasn't going right or the way that I had pictured it, and I really got myself in a dark place. And I'm so grateful for my sweet, easygoing husband for putting up with me during that time. So that was kind of the darkest part of my life. And when we were about married 3 months, that's when I got pregnant with my sweet Ethan. But during that time, I was working at a telemarketing place and going to school and feeling pretty bad about my life. I spent a lot of time feeling sorry for myself and trying to fix a lot of really nitpicky problems and some things that were also kind of big that we were going through. Anyway, I had my baby, and later on, because I did nitpick things, I blamed myself for his disability, because I had spent that time not being myself, being the worst part of myself that I had been. I had all those stress hormones going through my body, and I wished that I could have made it a nurturing pregnancy. But since then, I've been able to see the truth in that, and to love myself, and to be able to forgive myself for that, and to realize that there is a learning process, and nothing is perfect, but everything is beautiful. So anyway, I have this baby, and he cries. He's just crying all the time. And the only time he wasn't crying when he was being held and nursed. He just cried all the time. And so anyway, I took him to doctors and everything, and they were really nice and helpful, but there was just still a lot of crying, and possibly some of it was linked to my stress, my own demeanor, and outlook on life. But over the next years, I had a couple more kids, and I wanted to be happy. I wanted to learn how to be happy again. And so different things would come into my life, and I'd read a book here, or I'd go to church, or I'd talk to someone, and my life would be lifted a little bit more, and I would learn how to see my marriage in a different light, and to forgive myself and him for whatever was going on, and to not live in the past. Still a process, still something where when I find something, then I spend a little bit of time meditating on it. But anyway, I'm going to keep going on with my boy. So I made it my mission to make his life better, to heal him, to fix him. But it was about me. It was about, I looked at him, and because I saw the the disability, it triggered something in me that made me feel like I was inadequate, or that I wasn't good enough, and that I needed to redeem myself through fixing him, and that wasn't That wasn't bringing me happiness. That wasn't love. I loved him, but I sure had some negative motivators in there that I couldn't see. And so I just noticed that when he would develop and he wouldn't do things very quickly, then I would just get really down inside. I just remember that it was hard, but I remember holding my baby and that he was soothing and sweet, and that I was so grateful that I had him, even during this dark time. But different things came into my life and helped me to see my life in a better light, but it did take a while. So anyway, I ended up having 2 more babies, and I'm still looking at my marriage, still worrying about problems. It gets a little bit better. It went from completely unbearable because of how I was looking at it, and because I was so new and inexperienced, to we became friends. And then about 5 years in, I felt myself, falling in love with him again, with my husband, and that was a huge support to me, to have us back. And but I just continued working with my boy, and my confidence was still kind of low at the time, and so anyway, the point when things really turned around, me and my boy, we were outside, and we were at a playground, and he was dazed. He was kind of looking off into space, and he had a shovel, and he stuck the shovel in the sand, and when he went to pull it up, he didn't have enough strength in his arm to lift the shovel. And I just cried, and I was just like, my boy, he's not even here. He's not even going to know that I'm crying. So I just cried there at the playground all by myself, and I said, Heavenly Father, please see me. Please see me. Please know what I need. It was just like, I just couldn't even voice what I was feeling. And so I prayed. And I just felt this huge calm come over me, this big blanket. It felt like this blanket of love surrounded me, and I just felt this feeling inside that said that everything was going to be okay, that I would need to work for it, but that everything was going to be okay. And I knew that I needed to have a better outlook on my boy. Sure, I loved him so much, but I didn't realize that changing the outlook on him meant first changing the outlook that I had on myself. I just had a really hard time being married, and then going to school, and like the no money thing. That was a huge shock to me. That like we would only have enough to pay our bills and then buy some groceries, and then if I wanted to buy a candy bar, I couldn't because it might overdraft the account. It was just like, man, that was hard on us, to have barely what we needed. But what I did learn is that it always worked out, and I always ended up having what I did need. So time went on, and one day I just looked at him, and he made like a little movement where where his autism was showing, and I was doing dishes, and I looked at him, and I remember going, gotta fix that. And then something came over me and said, no, just love him. So I realized that I'd been judging him, and that I've been looking at him and saying, this is not okay. Who you are and how you are behaving right now is not okay. But what I realized was that wherever we are is perfect for that moment. And so I looked at him, and I just made this promise to myself that I was going to decide that I'd seen where I'd been, and that decide that I was going to change where I was going, and that I was just going to love my boy and let be what was, let him be. And so it was a struggle for me. I had to make a lot of effort to change the way that I was thinking. And what I would do is I would do thought do-overs. So I would look at him and then I would judge him and I would catch that I had done it. And in my mind, I would remind it and I would rewind it and I would redo that thought process. And I would try again. And after a while, I'd trained my mind to love my boy in every moment. And then if I did find myself judging him or even others, it's cool how it was such a blessing that when I would catch myself blaming or judging others, that I would go, okay, what does that mean I believe about myself if I am looking at my neighbor and believing something negative about them, judging them, blaming them, means that I judge and blame myself. And so it was really neat how my life came around, and I ended up going and becoming certified as an emotional release coach. And I did it in the beginning to help my boy, because there was different things that I could do through this training that would help him with his disability. There was like a chance that I could help him, but I learned things that helped me to process my emotions and to remember who I was. And so it was just really neat how all of that came together, and how when I went to the training, I thought I was going for him, but I really went for me. And that it really did change my outlook and change the way that I viewed the world. And when I was met with opposition, then I would go, what is this supposed to teach me about me? How does this help me see my value? Something that I want to share with you is right now I'm doing Tiffany Peterson's Mindset Makeover. And she invited us to look at our belief systems, and that's something I'm going to talk to you about later. I'm going to teach you how to work on your belief systems so that you can be more confident. I just know there have been times in my life where I couldn't even get out of bed because I was just so afraid of life, or you go and you try to do something brave, and because all of your emotions are screaming at you to stop, it's exhausting, and you become too exhausted to continue. And I know that that's a place where you can be when you feel overwhelmed with a kid with special needs. You can become worn out just because of how you feel about it. And I didn't want to feel that way anymore. I just wanted to feel better, wanted to feel happier. And so anyway, what Tiffany told us was, she said that there were was it 5? There were 5 really core beliefs that everybody needs in their life, and she had us write it on some cards and to keep them by our bedside and to read them every night. So the first one is, I am enough. I am worthy and deserving. I forgive myself, or I'm learning to forgive myself. I trust myself, or I'm learning to trust myself. I allow myself to receive. So anyway, that's just kind of what I wanted to talk to you about today, is that if you're overwhelmed and you're tired and just the emotional load of what you're feeling, because people who have kids with special needs, they have all the other problems that everybody else has too, plus that. And that one's already huge. And so just know that because somehow this has happened to you, it's perfect for you. And it just means that you have a lot of strength. And if you're feeling overwhelmed and tired about it, there's one thing. So Kirk Duncan talks about being real tired and fake tired. So real tired is when you've been working all day long and you're just like, okay, I'm ready to go to bed, and you go lay down and you have this really good sleep. And then there's fake tired. And fake tired is when you you get a lot of emotional triggers that are connected from your past, from an experience that you're having. Maybe you're trying to do something or to create something, and it goes against these belief systems that have been put in place throughout your experiences of life, and you just become mentally and emotionally exhausted. So that is fake tired. So I'm going to be posting some videos that can help you to process some of these beliefs, to be able to get through some of these limiting belief systems that hold you back. It really is like trying to run through the mud when you have all of that emotion in your way. And one of the other things that Kirk says to do is to just begin saying, I can do this. And he said, start small. Say, I can brush my teeth. Anything that's small that you're doing. If you're putting on your shoes, I can put on my shoes. Instead of looking at your whole day and saying, I'm overwhelmed, I have too much to do, I'm exhausted, just look at each thing that you're doing. When you're unlocking the door to your car, say, you push the button. You can say, I can do this. When you get in the car, you click your seatbelt. I can do this. When you begin driving, I can do this. Or whether it's getting the mail or doing some laundry, you just say, I can do this. I can do this. And it really does make a world of difference, and it expands what you feel like you're able to do. And when you've got all of these challenges with a family like this, when you say, I can do this for every little small thing, maybe there's some behavior, I can do this, or there's another need somewhere else in the family, I can do this. You just want to keep that I can attitude, and that will really help you to avoid that fake tiredness. So I just really want to encourage you that you are enough, and that you are worthy and deserving, and that you are worthy of your own forgiveness, and that you can trust yourself. I really want you to trust yourself to live your life the way that you want to. Trust your abilities to be able to do this. And then allow yourself to receive. Whatever your dreams are, whatever your hopes are for your family, believe and trust yourself. Know that you are worthy to receive that you can receive that. And it's a matter of asking. Another thing that I love to do is vision boards. I like to put something up on my vision board and then just hope toward it. Hope. And Kirk Duncan does a really good job explaining those vision boards and just making your life really something that you create in your mind, and then something that comes out that's tangible, that you can hold, that really has a result and grows you and helps you become who you really want to become. Because you are special. You have something very special to offer your family, to offer the world. You just being here makes a difference. And I just really want to encourage you to be the best self that you possibly can. Bye.